Great, this shows us live. I just want to double check that it is showing up on Facebook and YouTube like it mentions to us. And now it is. Perfect. There's that little delay. Let's jump right into it while folks refresh their pages and start to join us once again. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever it is you're tuning into our broadcast. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about our candidates. We have two ways that you can know more about them through the chamber. This is the first way, which is as one-on-one interview style that we're doing here virtually. The second is in person. That's next Thursday, October the 19th, over at the City Hall. It will be recorded, will be available for you to rewatch later on if you can't make it, but we do hope that you take the time to go out there. The main difference between the two and why we're doing them is this first one is more of a general interview style, almost like you're applying to a position or job, which they truly are. The second one is more of a getting into the details. We want to hear their response to some rapid fire questions that we throw their way. We want to know their genuine reaction to those things. So they'll all be fairly asked those questions. Quickly, I want to let you all know that all the campaigns have been invited. The ones that are with us this morning are obviously the ones that were able to make it for us. The ones that were unable to make it were unable to make it, and that's why they're not on here with us. That being said, I do ask that you provide us comments in the chat. You even hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see this video, learn about the candidates. Know that if you ask a question, I would hope that the candidate can go back to this broadcast, find it, and maybe answer it for you, but we will not be taking it up on the screen. We are moving through these pretty quickly. I've got some lighthearted, some randomized questions to throw their way. To be fair, we're changing it up between one to the next, and some of these broadcasts are later than the ones that started up at the very start. There may be some similarity, but for the most part, I'm really going to try and change it up based on how they respond to us. So that's the method to the madness, how the people are, with us today, who's with us and why they chose to be on here, etc. I do want to thank all of you for taking the time to stay informed. And Karen, thank you for seeking an office here at City Council. Let's just jump right into it. Can you tell me a little bit about a time that you maybe have felt stressed or pressured and how you handled that?
With regard to the candidacy or just in general?
In general, you can attribute it to the campaign. You can attribute it to just life, work, however you want to answer it.
Well, I actually have been feeling a little stressed because the candidacy requires some paperwork, and I still don't have my website up. I thought it was connected to the domain name. Those kinds of details stress me out a little bit. But in general, I've been a little unhappy with the City Council for a few years now. So it's not as though this is a newly imposed stress. And part of the reason I am running is to reduce my stress, is maybe so that I can be on City Council and not have to put up with decisions I consider bad, but actually help implement good decisions.
So what are some of those decisions that you're looking to implement if and when you're elected into City Council?
Right, if and when, sure, when I'm elected. I and I know this is at odds with the Chamber of Commerce, but I have had a problem with the Uplands development for quite a while. I think we took a beautiful open space and are imposing higher density than even was allowed in the standards to happen. And one of my solutions, proposed solutions, would be to allow for properties like the Westminster Farm to be traded in a 5-to-1 scenario. For instance, 5 acres of undeveloped land could be traded for 1 acre of land in the downtown, the new Westminster new downtown that already has water, sewer, electricity, streets. It has all that infrastructure in place. And to me, it's a much more suitable place to have development while leaving our open spaces truly open. So my solution would be to allow for a 5-to-1 trade of, and I think that would make a lot of people happier to have those amenities close by in a high dense situation rather than imposing it on an open area.
Now, for those people that don't know you, can you tell them a little bit about who Karen Kalavity is?
Yeah, I've actually been here for 13 years in Westminster. for quite a while, I didn't have any thoughts of running for city council because I actually thought that Westminster was a pretty well run city. One of the things I liked was that, for instance, the city hall building was retrofitted for geothermal. And I thought, this is great. And the water system, we used gray water for irrigation. And that's one of the few municipalities that does that is Westminster. And I thought it was actually a beautiful and progressive city. So I was very content not to have to be involved in any fray. But I actually came from North Denver. I was born in Colorado, and I moved to Westminster actually as a result of I lost my home in North Denver during the recession. So I moved here, reconnected with my ex-husband in Westminster, and that's why I'm here. And I'm running because I think the good decisions that had been made in the past are not being carried forward, and I'd like to help carry them forward.
And outside of some of these examples that you've shared, how else have you been engaged in the community or in the city?
Well, I do show up to a lot of the city council meetings at this point. I shop and, do things in Westminster just like everybody else does. So in that sense, I'm engaged because I use the facilities in the city, the shopping, the recreation centers. I really like, for instance, the recreation center on 104th and Sheridan. I take a ceramics class there. I think some of the things about Westminster are just great. The recreational facilities and the trails, and the wildlife that exists here. And that's one of the things I'm afraid is going to get lost in some of this high density development is the wildlife and the open areas. But I've really enjoyed those kinds of things while being here in Westminster.
Would you say you're an independent leader or more of a team player?
I would say that, for instance, in a city council setting, I would perform a key component. I am more probably an independent operator than team player, but in the instance of the city council, I really would depend on the support of other like-minded people to get things done. And I do believe that I can work pretty well with like-minded people and even not like-minded people in helping to get something done. But I would say that my style is to be a little bit more of an independent thinker, but obviously to get things done, you have to work with a team.
Now, you've run before for a city council, and what did you do between then and now to kind of improve or learn or grow yourself?
Well, to be quite honest, the last time I ran, I ran, and I'm going to admit it, I ran as a spoiler. I didn't like what that current group of city council people were doing. And as a Democrat, I ran kind of against the group of Democrats. And I didn't mind losing because my intention was not to lose. My intention was to make sure decisions such as the uplands and the water treatment plant did not get approved. Mm-hmm. And then when the other people won, all of a sudden they turn and approve those very things that I was working to spoil the other group from spoiling. So again, it's not that I have this grand idea of being on city council. It's that decisions that city council makes are important. And when I don't see decisions being made that people say they're going to be making or that are in line with what I think is good direction for the city, that's what makes me run again. And I have been working with people to help maybe reverse some of those decisions or adjust those. So that's what I've been doing.
So I am going to condense a quick question in. I know we're close to the 10-minute mark, but can you share with us just a quick example of how you demonstrate managing multiple responsibilities at once?
Managing
multiple responsibilities at once.
Oh, multiple responsibilities at once. Yeah, I think I'm a multitasker as much as anybody. you know, I'm not working right now. I am retired basically. So from that point of view, I can afford to put more time into a city council role than some others. I do see that some of the people on the city council now have work, full-time work, plus city council and other responsibilities, and it has made them hard to multitask. I don't think I'm the greatest multitasker, but given the fact that I have maybe more time than others, I will be able to multitask more easily.
Thank you, Karen, for spending some of your morning with us. I will look forward to seeing you next week at the in-person forum. Thank all of you that are tuned in with us, and I ask that you not only share this video so others in your network see it, but also stick with us, refresh this page as we'll be coming back to you with another candidate. And thank you for continuing on this marathon with us to get to know some of these folks that are seeking an office here at our City Council. I hope you have a great rest of your day.